Hello brothers and sisters, Kameron here, what up? If you are new to the channel, I was born and raised as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. This is me kind of sharing some more experiences. A common cult tactic that mild or extreme cults use, or any religion that has a culty tendency or political group, or because it's not just religious groups that are extremists, financial groups and political groups, a whole bunch that have culty tendencies. A common cult tactic is isolation. So, for instance, the Jehovah's Witnesses, they do this by manipulating the scriptures. The one that they commonly use is bad association spoils useful habits. And they do this even though clearly in the New Testament, Jesus is seen hanging out with tax collectors, drunkards, and people that would be considered bad association. Jehovah's Witnesses never mention that in their material, and if they do, they don't link the two, and they're masters at manipulating the scriptures. It's a common cult tactic, especially for those who grew up communally in the Jehovah's Witnesses or the Mormons or Scientologists or the Unification Church. They purposefully do this to the children. I didn't know that cults use the same tactics to take children and isolate them, using doctrine to manipulate the kids, making them, their whole idea is to make the children more loyal to the cult leaders than their own parents. And Jehovah's Witnesses definitely fall into this category. They limit playtime with other kids, especially those that don't have the same beliefs. Bad association spoils useful habits. You can't talk to that kid in school or hang out with him because he's not one of us. Other things like holidays, birthdays, the reasoning is that they use paganism origins. I have plenty of videos on my channel about that cover. I'll leave some links in the description. You can check that out. It really doesn't make any sense because there's scriptures that say it's okay to not to celebrate and not judge another man's holiday, giving the kids little to no education or denying higher education. Many cults are famous for this. JWs especially, they don't allow their kids to go to college, or maybe at the most maybe a 2-year program, but you really have to be doing spiritually well in the congregation, meaning devoting your life to the church or the congregation or kingdom hall, whatever you want to call it. Common tactic that cults use. Your mind and your loyalty to the cult leaders is way more valuable to them than your money, although they will take that along the way now too. So in this, I experienced all of this, including isolation from actual blood family members. I actually went on the hunt and looking for them a couple of years ago and was rejoined with them. You can watch some vlogs I have on me actually meeting them for the first time. Nerve-wracking experience, but one of the best things I could have done besides starting this vlog. So much that one of the best things that I'm so grateful for, that if I think about it too much, I actually tear up and cry, because it's, you know, I'd only seen my family a handful of times growing up my entire life. They were always looked at as bad association, and we were always trying to lead by example, that hopefully they would see how happy we were and become one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and then we could associate with them after we recruited them. Crazy experience. And the Jehovah's Witnesses would label them as worldly people. I attended my first family wedding about a month ago, as of filming this, a month-ish ago, and one of my cool-ass cousins asked me, he's like, hey, do you know who your dad is? Like, not trying to get too personal, but who's your dad? And I was like, I don't know, because in my first video that I did was like kind of covered a little bit about my background and growing up as a JW. There's so many things that my brainwashed Jehovah's Witness mother had told me about who my dad was that I didn't really want to know, and she didn't really talk about him too much. And then meeting my family, I met so many other rumors and stories we don't know. So what now I know. And then growing up, my mom had said some pretty nasty and evil things about the family, but I actually met them and decided to make up my mind for myself. Some of it, and it ended up being most of it, was not true because of the doctrine and the brainwashing that she had been through. The family was much cooler than I had thought. And because of them being different and not believing, I grew up with a natural hate for my family. My grandmother was sweet, but she definitely had her moments, so her being the one that I had the most contact with, I started to believe my JW brainwashed mom about how not so nice the rest of the family was, until I met them. And it wasn't until I had run away from the cults, from being disfellowshipped for a couple of years, and then I woke up and I realized that something bad had happened to me my entire life. A lot of JWs go through this after they're just de-effed, and they realize, oh my God, everything was a lie and I was manipulated and taken advantage of. They took my money, they took my family, my time, my education, most notably your time. And I discovered my actual family on my mom's side, and I just realized they were just embracing and loving and goofy ass people. Same vulgar sense of humor that I have. Like, I met another one of my cousins, and he had this necklace on, and it had a lot of beads on it. One of my cousins, he had this necklace on after the wedding in the reception, and I asked him, like, where'd you get this cool ass necklace? And he's like, oh, you mean my anal beads? That's my family. curse all the time, and I just freaking love it because growing up, you're not allowed to curse. And then now, at the point where I'm at now, I don't really believe in the Bible because there's no Christian that I've met have been able to answer my questions. Cursing is one of my favorite things to do, and then to meet these people years later and know that so many things in common, so many nuanced little things, it's crazy. You can just look at them and be like, oh yeah, we're related. I messed up, and so are you. So I kept asking questions like, does anyone really know who my real dad was? And my aunts and uncles and cousins had heard rumors, but no one could really confirm. So again, I start questioning the things that my brainwashed JW mother had told me, because ultimately her loyalty is to the cult leaders, the governing body of the Jehovah's Witnesses and Jehovah God, their name for God, not family, not blood. Hence, not having seen her for years and not having her answer the door when I tried to speak to her. And then looking back at how she was recruited, she was young, she was out of college, she was in her early 20s when she had me. The situation, her background was not good. She came from abuse. They're looking for vulnerable, weak people, as does mainstream Christianity, is looking for vulnerable, weak people to give them a hope and like, oh, we'll take you in. Common cult tactic, especially at colleges. I didn't realize how much cults target colleges. Cut to now, a few weeks ago, my cousin Koihana, what up boo, she came up to me with this idea. We were at the reception eating all these hors d'oeuvres and drinks and stuff that I'd never seen before, and she was like, hey, I have this extra DNA test and I would really like for you to have it. DNA test. I was like, you know what, this might help get a better idea of your past, because as far as I know, I'm mainly Hawaiian and Filipino. A lot of people think I'm Mexican, but I don't really know beyond that. As far as I know, there's 8 to 10 different things that I have in my blood. Could be more. And some of my friends have actually shown me some of the tests where they figured out they were not what they thought they were. So my cousin Koihana sent this to me. I have it. I'm gonna unbox it with you, and we're gonna take the test together. I'm gonna be a little bit more vulnerable, try it out. I've never done one of these tests before. I don't even know what to expect. And then I think a month later I get results back. She was her idea was hopefully to bring some more closure on who I am and where I came from. And the reason why I share this is a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses are cut off from their actual blood family members. Mormons, Scientologists, Unification Church, the list goes on and on and on. Those are just the ones that come to the top of my head. We're cut off from our family, so this is my first step in figuring out the other side of my family. Who are they? Who am I? Where did I come from? So hopefully this inspires some of you to get off your butt and go figure out yourself. Like, who am I? Where did I come from? This is the first step. So let's figure this out together. Also random, I don't know if you can see this ring. It is a Aztec ring with the all-seeing eye on it. I've become fascinated with all-seeing eyes and pyramids and all that stuff because of Charles Taze Russell. He's the leader of the Jehovah's Witnesses. Actually, the Bible students back in the day in the 1800s, late 1800s. Didn't know that Ancestry.com was owned by the Mormons, so please don't baptize me when I'm dead. So, got all this stuff. I think this is actually from my cousin. I think she might have made this. This is the test. This is Activate Online. Looks pretty straightforward. Gather the DNA, send it off. Let's do this shit. Activate the sunlight first, okay. Thing, okay, that's the collection tube thing. And here's the actual tube thing that you get. Looks like this. It's got some stuff. This is a little saliva cup at the top that you spit into, and then a stabilization fluid. Some water just in case, can build up some saliva. Because I am drier than a Mormon boy raised with no humor. Fill tube with saliva to the black, wavy line. That sounds so gross. Oh, there we have it. There we have it. So you know what? It's bubbles. Let me add a little bit more. Oh god, this is gross. Universe, Odin, God, whatever it is. This is. I hope no one makes any gifts out of this. I guess it mixes. Shake it, but that goes in there. More cherry. I don't know how long it takes from here, honestly. If it takes 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. If you've done the test, you should comment down below so that way I can know. Until then, brothers and sisters, thanks for hanging out and going along on this ride. If you'd like to see more vlog style stuff like this, definitely let me know in the comments. And make sure you subscribe so we can find out what happens together. And make sure you hit that bell notification so that way you can get all the updates that I upload, instead otherwise you'll get random occasional ones. You might miss something. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Kameron Fader. I'll leave a link somewhere. And if you want to support the channel, definitely check out and head on over to my Patreon. And any comments or interest in that below, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Until then, brothers and sisters, I will see you in the next video. Check, 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 test, 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 test.